welcome to the Crochet Luna channel. My name is Claudia and I'm coming to you from the San Diego area in Southern California. I hope that you guys are enjoying a nice weekend. It is Saturday, April 27th, and this is another vlog on the channel. If you are a new viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. I am a crochet-centric podcaster, but lately I've been a very fabric and quilty centric blogger, but it's okay. I mean, all crafts are welcome here. Like I said, I have been doing a lot of sewing lately, so I talk more about sewing and the journey that I'm on with that, but always with crochet in my heart. So welcome, let's get started. It's been all about Doddy Bag madness in this house. It has been turned upside down, inside out, right side up, with fabric, scraps, cutting, threading, cleaning sewing machines, threading sewing machines, running out of thread. It's been the whole enchilada, but it's been amazing. We have done this make along. I, along with Allie of Little Drops of Wonderful, have done this make along for about 5 years now, and there were years that I bought fabric, I picked patterns, and did nothing got done. But this year, because I have been doing a lot more sewing and experimenting with hand stitching and all kinds of stuff, and trying to, you know, dip my foot in the quilting world, I have done a lot of sewing for the Doddy Bag Mal, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I have done. So I'm going to start with that as my FOs. And I will talk about the bags because I did 8 bags in total, and with each bag I learned something new, and I learned, I feel like it was like a workshop that I did, you know, because if you see, like, from the first bag to the last bag, there was a lot of improvement that I felt I did in terms of understanding how to cut fabric and sew it together, and things that worked and things that that didn't work, and so it was a lot of fun. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you the first bag. Now, this batch of Doddy bags are all one of a kind. There's only one made. There's no duplicates. It's just a one of a kind bag. But I will talk about each of these bags because I'm really excited. So let me first start off by talking about the construction of each of these bags. As I said before, they are all one-of-a-kind bags, and they are all made up of scrappy fabric. They come that, you know, I have in my scrap bin. What I did was I used the fusible interfacing, and I cut it to the size that I wanted. They're all the same size. And what I would do is I first created the fabric for the panel, and then I would use the fusible interfacing and iron those two together, and that's how I created the panels for the bags. So here's the first one that I did, and they're all a tote style bag. So this is the first one that I did. These are all, you know, scraps of fabric, and then in addition to that, I did some hand stitching on here. Now, one of the things that I changed on this go around of hand stitching is that previous to that, I was using quilting thread to do my hand stitching. For example, on the very first stitching project that I did, I think in the back you'll see it, I have some hand stitching, but it's done with very thin thread. So it kind of gets lost in the pattern of the project. So I reached out to I'll put the name of the Instagrammer here. I'll put the name here. She has a YouTube channel. That's what I watched to make this bag. I reached out to her and I asked her because I noticed on her projects the stitches really pop. And I said, well, what kind of thread are you using to make your stitches pop? And she said oftentimes she will use embroidery floss. Now, I have a little stash of embroidery floss, and I keep it in this tin right here that I bought. I thrifted this tin. I've had it for many, many years. And in it, I have lots of embroidery floss. So I said, great, that must be why her stitches look nice and plump and fat. And let me try that on this series of bags. And that's why when I show you this, you can really see these stitches pop. So this is bag number 1. And I like it. I mean, this is a nice bag. I like this bag. Now, one of my favorite parts of the bag is the back panel. So the back panel, I use a solid fabric. And it's this fabric. So this is the back. This is the front. And on the inside is just sort of like a neutral fabric. So yeah, I definitely think that using the embroidery floss makes a huge difference in the way the stitches look, and I really, really like that. So this is bag number 1. Now, bag number 2. Bag number 2, I had some embroidery thread that I got from a kit long time ago that I never used. I never did anything with the kit. And it's a different kind of embroidery thread. I think this is more like a linen blend. So here's bag number 2. I was playing around with some leftover squares that I had from my table runner that I did, my table cover that I showed in my last episode. So what I did here is I used different colors of that thread in the bag. So you'll see this bag has different colors of thread running through the whole thing. I hope the camera is picking that up. So there's some yellow and some red. So this is bag number 2. And what I really like about that look is that it just is so visually interesting to have the different color threads running throughout the bag. And so the back of this bag also has that same pretty fabric and a neutral inside. This is a fabric line that I found at a local quilt store, and it has, let me see, it has like little sayings in it. I don't know if you can read it. And I bought it to match another fabric, and I just decided that I just wanted to use it for the lining of these bags, and that's why I'm using it for these bags. So here's bag number 2, where I was just experimenting with different colors of thread. This third bag, I started to do something a little bit different in the way that I was doing the stitching on it. So this one looks like, here's bag number 3. So I started doing a little bit different. Instead of running everything all the way down, what I did on this one is I ran the pattern of stitches here and then across. And of course, this, I love this fabric, and I'm down to just the tiniest of pieces, and I just thought it looked perfect here. So I did this one. I can't find that fabric anywhere. I love it so much. I've used it in several bags. And then just some solid strips of fabric. And what I liked about experimenting with the hand stitching is that before I put the thread, the hand stitching on it, it looked good. I liked it. but it really changed the way it looked when I put the thread on top. So, you know, this panel here is red with the blue threading and then the yellow edging. And then this panel here has different color threads across. And I think that, so on a solid color, you know, fabric, if you use a contrasting thread or contrasting color, I think it really adds a lot more to that fabric, so it doesn't feel so flat against other patterns. So this is bag number 3, and then I used a different panel in the back. Now what I did do on this panel is I did some cross sewing lines for quilting in the back. And on the inside, it's got this dragonfly fabric. With this next bag, I found that I had a, like a, I don't know if it's variegated, but it's a embroidery floss that changes colors. Now, embroidery floss is very much like yarn, because I went to Joann's and I wanted to buy so much of it, but I exercised some self-control. I said, no, we got some of that at home. I did buy a couple of colors that I wanted to, that I didn't have, but the one that I really liked was this one here. So as you can see, this one here has, it's color changing. So I thought I would try that on a bag, and I just love the way it came out. So this is another bag. This is bag 4. And I only use that color changing thread I started on this side here. So you can see how that changes color going across the bag. And for example, these 2 panels of fabric were part of when I went to the quilt shop, I bought like a pound of scraps, and these 2 panels, or these 2 strips of fabric were there, and I fell in love with them right away. And I knew that they would look really good together, and I was so excited to be able to put them together, because I think that these 2 work. They're so pretty. They're really pretty. And then these, again, are part of the leftover squares that I had for that table runner. So this is another bag, and that one has a nice mustard yellow fabric. And on the inside, it has this like retro looking fabric that I really like. So I really like this bag. I think this is really pretty. So for my next bag, I decided I was only going to use one color, and I wanted a color that would make things pop for the hand stitching, and I chose yellow. So I chose this pretty yellow here. It's a really bright yellow. And I went ahead and, just did some lines down here, and it's just a lot of fun to me. Like, doing the hand stitching is almost like drawing. You can really do just so much. You just do whatever you want. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but I really like this one. I like changing the directions of how the fabric lays. I think it's interesting, and I think the hand stitching really makes things pop, and it makes it visually interesting. I try to find fabrics that are not too crazy and loud for the inside of the bags, although sometimes crazy and loud is what you need. But for this one, I did this yellow one with the little birds that I thought was really pretty. There's a panel of it right here. So this is another bag. With this next bag, I decided I wasn't going to do any hand stitching on it, but I did do some lines of sewing on top. This is another bag. And you can see what I did is I drew lines from corner to corner, and then I went down the middle, and then I went across. And then I also did some lines going down the edges of these panels. So this one has no hand stitching on it, but I think it's already really visually very interesting. And the back, actually this is the same pattern. This pattern that you see in the back is the same pattern that I did in the front. And then I just put a little pink button on there because I thought that was cute. So this is the back of the bag, and the inside of the bag has this fabric on it. So this is another bag. And then the last bag that I did no hand stitching, and then no quilting lines whatsoever. It's just the panels of fabric. And I actually really like the way this looks. I think it looks clean. I really like the way it came out. So this is another bag here. And you know, it's what's really cool about making scrap fabric, I think it's along the same lines as when people use leftover yarn to do like a memory blanket or something like that, where you see the yarn and you know exactly what project you know the yarn came from and that you use. And for me, it's the same thing with the fabric. And this particular little bit of fabric here was part of a yard of fabric that I purchased when I was in the UK in 2018 when I went to Yarndale. I went to this yarn shop and they had all this gorgeous fabric, and I brought back just 1 yard of that. Might even have been just half a yard of that. And so I've been keeping the little scraps of it, and I try and use it. I think there's some in another bag that I have here. I know that I've used it in other bags, and I'm like down to like nothing. I don't have anything left. But this is the back of the bag. And then for this bag, I found this really cute butterfly button that I had. I'm pretty sure I got that button from Maria from A Needle Runs Through It. If you go to her web shop, and I'll link it below, she has a lot of really cute buttons like that. So I thought that was cute, and I used pink thread to attach it. I'm really nervous about putting buttons on bags, and I didn't want to do anything too high because I'm afraid that if you have a button like that, the yarn will get caught in it. So I put it down here. Hopefully this won't create a problem, but I really like the way this looks. This one I did do quilting lines across the bag, and I thought it looked really cute. So here we are. I've gone years hosting the Doddy Bag Mal where no bags were made, to now this year I made 8 bags. I can't say anything, but I'm so proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. And like I said, I feel like it was like a workshop, like, 'cause I was learning, I was experimenting, and I think every single one of these bags is great. So things that I've learned, okay, and all of this is stuff that if you sew on the regular, then you probably think I'm, you know, crazy for even saying it, but or you probably think it's just common sense. But if you don't work, if you're not a sewist, sometimes there's things that you have to kind of go through in order to figure out. So for me, one of the things that I realized was that, for example, in bag number 1, and I don't know how well the camera will read it. So in bag number 1, the panels are kind of crooked. They're very crooked. Like, for example, here, you can see that this here is a little bit wider than the front. So it's not straight. It's not straight at all. And that's because I honestly was just grabbing scraps and going to the sewing machine and putting them together. I wasn't really doing anything beyond that. And so when I had the panel done, I really had to, when I was cutting it, try and figure out how to square it off. And this one was one that I had to really, really play with to make it look even halfway decent square. So Same thing, let me see. I think same thing with this one too. I had a hard time because I wasn't cutting the strips square. I didn't square off the strips before I went to the machine. So then when I finally realized, you know what, I'm really making things difficult on myself. Why don't you take the time and cut the strips, you know, square, so that when you sew them together, then, you know, they look better. And after I did that, I feel like the bags look better because the lines and the panels themselves are straighter. So I figured that out the hard way. You can see it here. See this, the edging here, how it's thicker here, and then it's like kind of crooked. But that's part of dodgy bag making, right? You're not looking for perfection. You're not looking for it. But I think that as the more you sew, you figure out things and you learn from that, so that the next time maybe this will be a little straighter for me. So although it's crooked, yeah, I can see it. I don't mind it because it's a dodgy bag. Now, the other thing that I learned really quick was that I was hand stitching the panel all the way top to bottom before I squared off the bottom of the bag. So the way I do it is, if you can imagine a rectangle, I actually cut out the corners of the bag so that when I sew it, I can square it off and have a box bottom. Well, when I was cutting those squares, I was cutting into threads that were not tied up, that were not secured. So that created a little bit of an issue, but thankfully I was able to figure that out. You can see up here the threading goes all the way to the top here because I hand stitch the panel from, like I said, from top to bottom. What I then realized is that to save the headache of worrying about, is it going to come undone? Where should I be, where should I start and stop? I went ahead and figured out where my box bottom was going to be at, where I was going to cut that panel. And then I just stitched between the top and the bottom. I left space on top. I didn't do any hand stitching up here. And I focused the hand stitching just in this area right here. That way there's no hand stitching down here that I was worried about cutting, and I just concentrating that. And it actually, not only does it save time, it saved thread, and it was just a better way of doing it. And wasn't something that I was thinking about. I was just, loving hand stitching and just doing it. You can see it here as well, because you can see that I hand stitched all the way to the bottom here. Now, some of these bags are for my swap partner and for the prize winner that I will be choosing from Instagram. The rest of the bags I'm going to go ahead and list on Etsy to see if anybody would like to have one of these dodgy bags, because they're actually, it's a good size bag. I think it's a fun bag, and I don't need to have 6 or 7 of these bags sitting in my stash, right? So I'm going to put them up for sale, and hopefully they can find a new home and be loved. And just know that I had a lot of fun making them. I put a lot of love into them, and that I hope that you will be able to enjoy them as well. I'm going to move on to talk about what I'm currently working on. One you've seen, one you haven't. And like I said, in terms of crochet, I don't have any finished objects because I am almost done with my socks. So here's, and I've shown this sock before, many months ago. But I think I explained that I started working on the second one and I had to, frog it to the start. But I'm almost done. See, this is sock number 2. This is sock number 2. I'm working on the leg, and then I have the cuff, and then I should be done with this pair of socks, which I'm really excited about because I want to start another pair of socks for the Crazy Sock Lady. She's hosting her annual summer sock camp, and I definitely want to participate in that. So briefly to talk about this pattern is called, it's by Martha Mitchell, and it's called Fabulous Socks. It's a great pattern. She has put a lot of work into perfecting this pattern with tutorials, and this is, I know this is not the first version of the pattern that I got because it's been updated, but this pattern is very well written, and Martha is an amazing sock designer. She has other sock patterns, but I was on a quest, and I've said this before, of finding and perfecting a sock that fits my foot. And although I have crocheted other patterns, I feel like this pattern works well for me. And I think I finally cracked the recipe for it. And one of the things that I know helped me was with the second to last pair of socks that I did off that pattern. I very deliberately changed every so often the colors. You can see it's striped because I wanted to have sort of like a roadmap as to the rows, what worked, what didn't work. So when I did this sock, so like for me, this sock is my reference sock. Even though I wear it, this is the sock that I always reference back to. How many rows did I do? I did X amount of rows. So one of the big things that helped me with this sock is the gusset part, which is in this color right here. I realized that for me, staying with the same size hook created a very tight gusset. So what I do now is I actually use 3 different size hooks to make my sock. So this sock is made up of 3 different hooks because each part of the sock requires, for me, as I'm just talking for me, requires me to change and use 1 additional size hook that's not in the pattern. And that I do that in the gusset part here so that it fits, so it doesn't fit so tight. So I think that going forward, next, if I do another sock pattern or something, I will always try and do something like this because this is what helped me figure stuff out doing this. Along with that, I will tell you another handy tool that I have is my sock ruler. This is a sock ruler that came with a kit that I purchased from Neutrino. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Neutrino. They are an online app that actually is pretty fantastic. It was created by 2 sisters, and what it sort of takes out having to use a paper pattern, because the patterns that you buy from them are only available on the app, but you can make notes, you can highlight, you can do so much within the app to do the pattern. And like for me, when I travel, I always take a picture of the pattern so that it's on my phone so I can access it. But with Neutrino, it's not something that you can, it's not like you buy a pattern on Ravelry and upload it to their website. You only have access to the patterns on their website. At least that's how I remember Neutrino working. I don't know if there's been an update to that. But this sock ruler that I have, I love this thing. This is so good. And I use it all the time. So I have my sock ruler. I have my different size hooks that only live in my sock accessory bag. I'm currently using this bag from Fat Squirrel Fibers to keep my socks. There's one of my buttons. I love this button. And it's my mushroom butts, because who doesn't need mushroom butts in their life, right? I love this bag. It's colorful. It's fun. I love it. So I'm almost done with that, with those socks. And then I want to be able to start my summer camp socks. But I'm not going to talk about that today because I don't even know what yarn or pattern that I'm going to use. Next up, I want to talk about a project that no one has seen. And I've been working on it a little bit here and there for a really long time. And this project lives in the very first project bag that I ever purchased. I went to a it was like a yarn festival in Long Beach, probably 10 years ago, and I saw this bag and I just fell in love with it, and it was $25, and I thought, wow, that is expensive. So this is the bag that I purchased. I can't tell you who made it. I don't know who made this bag. And here's the back of it. Because you know, I love me a sugar skull. So I've been working, and I actually have already done one of these patterns. I already have done one of these shawls before. And my mother claimed it, so I don't have it anymore. It is a knitting pattern by Sandra Paul, and it's called Garters Ahoy. So this is the pattern. It's just a garter stitch and a little bit of, you know, ribbing here. It's a very basic, simple pattern because that's the kind of knitter I am. I'm not an advanced knitter. I just, you know, I don't knit all the time, but I do enjoy knitting, and I really like that pattern. So this is my shawl that I'm working on. And I'm hoping to have this shawl for the fall and for Halloween. The colorway is, the yarn is by Mitchell, Tara Mitchell from Mitchell's Creation. Love Tara, love her yarn. And I have, let me see if I have, hopefully I have, yes, I do. So the name of the colorway is called Along Comes a Spider. So this is Tara's card. I will link her website below. And I have 2 skeins of that yarn. Now, I started with this one because this one feels like it's a little bit less saturated than this one. So I'm hoping that it will look really good, sort of like transition out into the darker skein. But look at these colors. So that is my secret, not so secret knitting whip that I haven't talked about before. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think that's going to be so pretty. So that's what I have. I have the sock. I have my knitting whip. I haven't put any time into my cardigan, my fluffy clouds cardigan. Haven't put any time into that because mostly this month I've been sewing and I've been focused on sewing. I still have plans to work on it. Still have plans to finish it. And then I also have a shawl from Moret that I talked about last episode that I haven't even started. Everything's ready to go. I just haven't started it yet. I think what I'll do is once I finish the sock, I will start that shawl. Moving on to some crochet plans that I have aside from the Moret shawl that I want to start. I have 2 patterns that I want to talk about. One is, I know you guys have all seen the emotional support chicken from the Knitting Tree. I know you guys have all seen that gorgeous chicken. And so the Knitting Tree is a yarn shop in LA, and Annette Corsino, I'll put her name right here, runs that shop. She's a shop owner, and she also does Rhinebeck West. So I know Annette, and we talked, and I would say to her, where is the crochet version of the emotional support chicken? When is that coming? And she would say, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Well, it is here now. here is, let me see something. Yeah, Annette Corsino is her name. So here is the crochet version of the emotional support chicken. It looks exactly like this looks exactly like the knitting version, and I'm really excited. And what's really great about this pattern is that you can use scraps. Look how scrappy she is. So I'm looking forward to making myself an emotional support chicken. I hope you guys will also do that and, you know, end up with your own emotional support chicken. Can you imagine making this in like a super thick like category 6 yarn? You would have like a giant chicken. And look at her little eyes. And I have some what do you call those, the little safety eyes? So I'm excited about that. Now, it looks like it has a lot of, it's a photo tutorial. It looks like, let me see what kind of yarn. We're still with yarn, so this is going to go fast. But yes, so the emotional support chicken crochet pattern is now available. And then I found this free pattern because I've been itching to make like a bag. Like I want to make a crochet bag. And I really like the shape of this one. It's called a Stash Buster Project Bag, and it's actually a free pattern. Look at that bag. I love the shape of it. So I really think that this summer I might be making one of these bags. Here's the bottom one here. I like this rounded bottom that it has. And, you know, it's a free pattern, so that's all good. It says skill level beginner easy. So if you wanted to give a try to something like this, I will link it below as well. I wanted to share some acquisitions with you guys, and I am really excited about these. I actually visited a quilt shop, and it is so cute. It is so exactly like what you would picture a quilt shop. It's got all these cute little like knick-knacky things and handmade objects. It's got quilts. It's got beautiful fabric, like the most beautiful fabric. And shop owner or the shop person that was there was super friendly. I really had a good chat with her, and you know, she kind of like explained to me the different lines of fabrics and you know, who was making all the little different things in the store. And then they have a separate location right down from this particular quilt shop that is their more bright colors or more modern fabric. So the quilt shop has sort of like what she calls more rustic primitive side to it, with the whole aesthetic being like that. And then the second quilt shop, which is just a couple doors down, is actually their like modern bright colors, different fabric. And I found, and I guess I can show you I got fabric so I can show you the difference. So, and I forgot the name of the designer. I forgot the name of the company that makes this fabric. But so this is the fabric that I found at the more what we're gonna call the more rustic quilt shop. So it's, look how pretty that is. I am just, and there's a whole line of, you know, fabrics in this sort of pattern and in this palette. So the brand of this fabric, because I found it, is French General. And they have a quilt. Hopefully I took a picture of that or footage of that. They have a quilt with a house on it, and they have kits to make that quilt, and they use this line of fabric, and I just loved it. But I got this little bit of fabric, and then I went to the modern one, and then that's where I picked this beauty up. Oh, they had this in different palettes, but this was the one that I really liked. And now this one is by Ruby Star Society. And Moon Glow. I I don't know how to read fabric, people. I don't know. I don't know anything about the brands or anything. All I know is that this fabric was calling my name, and I can't wait to make some bags with this. Then I actually got, not from the quilt shop, this is from another trip. I got some fat quarters. That one. And I got this one. And I got this one. And this one right here. Little rainbows. I also got this combo, which I really like. It's this one here and this one here. I think these two will make a really, really cute summer bag. I think I'm going to make some bags for summer sock camp, because like I said, I want to participate in it. So I think I'm going to make myself a little sock bag, and then maybe I'll make extras and put them in the shop. So keep an eye out for that combo if you like it. And then I got the cutest bag ever. This is Little Red Riding Hood fabric. And then look at these wolves. Look at them. Hello. I just fell in love with this. I was hoping they had this fabric there, and I asked her, and she's like, no. These bags, and they have many of them in the two shops. They're designed by a college student, a local college student. Apology for all the dog noises. It's evening time. My dogs are communicating with the whole, neighborhood gang. So they're telling each other what they did today, what they ate, what they smelled. I don't know what's going on. But the cheesemate is juicy, I guess. So this bag, you guys, this fabric. Oh, so cute. And then there were two kits, 3 patterns that were waiting for me. They were waiting for Claudia to get there. Yes, they were. So the first one is for an 18 by 18 quilt. It's called Buzzy Bees. But the fabric for the kit looks nothing like this. I mean, the fabric for the kit is this palette, which I saw it in person, and I fell in love with it. So this is the fabric. And then I also saw the table runner size, but they did not have the kit, they just had the pattern. So this is the pattern for the table runner. Look at how they make the bees. Ah, so cute. And I've never worked with this, so this is gonna be a whole experiment. I don't even know. But how cute is that? Then I made a while ago a needle case for my needles. I made this. This is where I keep my needles, and this is just a little scissor fob. One of my first scissor fobs I ever made. I keep it here, and then if you open it up, you'll see that I keep my needles and stuff, and some pins in here. And then I put the extra needles for embroidery and different things in here. So I made this a while ago. But then I saw this. This one right here. And that's an accessory kit. And it's an accessory, a travel sewing kit is what it is. And it has pockets for scissors and all kinds of other stuff. and I bought it because let me just say, I saw this thing in person and I loved it so much. I'm going to take the fabric out so that you can see the fabric. I mean, these fabrics are gorgeous. I love, this has got texture on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got texture on it. So I'll be making, and then there's these little strips of fabric, and then a button for the flower. I mean, it comes with everything. I'm really excited about, I told her, I said, I am probably going to make it this weekend. No, I'm not. No, I'm not, because it's like 7 o'clock at night right now. But this is going to be the first this is going to be the first one that I'm going to make. So yeah, I'm really loving where I'm at right now. I got a pile of fabric in front of me. I'm knitting, got crochet. I got it all. I mean, what more could you want? What else? Oh, books? Yeah, I got that too. I just finished the fifth and last book of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Loved it. I mean, I don't even know what to do with myself. I was telling my husband, I don't even know. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I guess I gotta start another series because they were so good. It was such a good series. I really, really enjoyed it. I have a book fair coming up next month at school, and I'm going to be sewing some book sleeves that will be sold there for the kids. And what I decided to do is I'm going to use flannel. That way I'm not going to do any interfacing. It's just going to be a very simple book sleeve. And I was going through my fabric stash and I realized I have a ton of flannel fabrics. So I'll be working on that in the coming weeks. Looking forward to doing that. In terms of the Etsy shop, I'll be uploading, by the time this video goes up, whatever project bags are going to be sold will be listed, so you can pop over there. I will also tell you that I'm going to be listing 2 copies of Moret magazine, and these will be the discounted copies because they have some damage. I mean, when I say damage, it's because I know, these magazines are sold at a premium. It's a beautiful publication. So I can't sell them full price because, for example, this one here, and the camera might pick up on it, has some ink stains on the spine. The camera's not going to pick it up, but there's some like ink stains on the spine, and there is like a little, like, I don't know if like when they were printing or picking it up or something happened, but there's something going on in there. There's nothing wrong with the magazine. It's a perfectly good copy of Moret. It's just that I can't see myself selling this for full price, knowing that there is some damage to the spine and the cover. So this is going to be up for sale. The second copy of Moret, the cover on it was bent. So when it was packaged, I don't know what happened. And again, I don't know that the camera's going to pick it up, but it was bent going down this way. And you'll see it if you can see it. Maybe right there you can see it. There's 2 bends right there on the cover. These 2 copies of Moret are going to be discounted in the Etsy shop. So if you want to pick up a perfectly good copy of Moret, they're going to be there. That's all for now. I'll see you on the next video. craft with joy, and I wish you well. Bye-bye.